Okay, folks, as you can see, I have Aristo here with me today, and this will be the video for the last day of January in 2018. And the title is Our Time Matters.
Hello, Ron, and hello, everyone. It is the last video for January, and Ron and I were discussing some schedule problems because it's, I'm not punctual on these videos because I just don't have the time. We have a time difference with Ron. Before, it wasn't a problem. His life changed, my life changed, and I don't have the time. He has some prior engagements as well that popped up at the last minute, so he doesn't have the time. So apparently our time is something that is fleeting. It appears to be something that we don't have enough of. And whenever in a society that is a lax society like ours, there is not enough of something, it acquires greater value. So if you don't have enough gold, gold is more expensive. If you don't have enough oil, oil is more expensive, etc. It's inflation. So right now, time is one of our most precious commodities, and we don't even know it. In fact, everything is being monetized. Our time, of course, has been monetized for a long, long time. Especially with the whole schedule, 9 to 5 thing, even daylight savings time, our time. When I say monetized, I don't just mean it's corresponding to a currency. I mean that it's evaluated in terms of institutionalized exchange. When I say institutionalized exchange, I mean that social engineering, control, rulership, and all of these things that many of us take for granted, and if we don't take for granted, then other people who do will call us conspiracy theorists. All of these things that plague us today. Our society is, maybe I should have changed the title and said, it should be, our society is being monetized, but it's already been. The thing is, the ones, the archies of society, arche is like archon, call it rulers, or the ones who put themselves in charge, or an imposed pyramid that caps us, and they're at the top. This kind of thing, where the orders come from, where the oppression officially I say, comes from. Because unofficially, if you look at it esoterically, the oppression comes back to us. This is the mystic path of self-redemption that is very, very hard to get. I'm not saying I get it. I'm saying I'm dedicating my own life for my own for myself to getting it, because I believe that it's there, and that's what is associated with the New Age belief that we create our own reality, which has also been misunderstood. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let me go back to this concept of time is being monetized or turned into an exchange medium. Not just time, however, also soul is being monetized. Sincerity is being monetized. You go on YouTube, the YouTube videos that get the most hits in the information medium, etc., are the ones where people appear to be most sincere. However, human sincerity is a dirty thing. The truth may set us free in a way, but it may also beat the crap out of us until it does, because we resist it, because of course we do, because there's so much deception, because everything we think is going to set us free, we call the truth. And everything we call the truth, we expect to set us free. We are stupid. Why are we stupid? Because we've been dumbed down. We know this. We know this. But somehow with all of the crap that's going on in recent years, you see the brainwashing has been shifted a little bit. And that's a good thing for us. Well, it's not a good thing. It's a bad thing. But we can take advantage of anything. So, and if the brainwashing has shifted, means we have a reference frame that we can't take it for granted anymore. We can either just completely go back and go along with it, ride the current, or we can observe, where do collective memes make us feel good? So you see, there's a good feeling that's artificial. We're being masturbated, you know, and if we like being masturbated, it feels good. But then there's another more genuine feeling of feeling good, which is more fulfilling in the long term. But we may be desensitized to it because we're so used to that pressure of illusionary self-fulfillment, you know. The physical act may have its place, but this psychic masturbation that's going on is really everything that the physical one has been tainted to be. Let's put it that way. You know, it's a sin, it's a bad thing. Yeah, because when you're being jerked off by the system, you kind of forget everything because you're stuck in Pavlovian pleasure pain mode. You're stuck with the rod and the staff of somebody else's doing. You get used to it, you take it for granted, and you end up arguing for it. A lot of people make profit from it. You know, the funny thing is, there by the grace of God go I. Okay, I don't forget that saying. I suggest none of us do. And even though it's very, very difficult to accommodate it and try to be effective in dealing with shit, especially when, let's just take that one issue, our time is being controlled, and because it's being drained and vampired of our time in this so-called meritocracy, as some people call it, pseudo-meritocracy, a rigged gambling casino, because our time is being drained, we don't have enough of it, and hence now a price is being put on. So anytime somebody asks for help, like in Ron's case, for example, you end up in inner turmoil because you have other obligations. You know, this is responsibility. This is the real world. Yeah, it's the world of our experience. But then again, let's put it this way. If somebody puts you in prison, that's the real world for you. You know, so you better get used to it and act like an asshole like everybody else, because now you're a fucking prisoner, even if you're innocent. Doesn't matter. It's the real world. See, it's so again, Ron mentioned to me that somebody said to him, all these things. So the world is an illusion. Okay, now the classic response, there's two responses to this for me. Either you get pissed off and say, no, it's not an illusion, or you go along with it and say, yeah, it's an illusion, so it doesn't matter, because illusions don't matter. And both of these responses for me are not constructive, because the point is, our reality is contrived, okay? There's too many lies for it to be called, you know, true. It's not true, but it is real, meaning the experience is coming through our five senses. It is not a simulation in terms of technological simulations. You cannot equate VR or these computer analogies with our biological reality. You know, it is real. You cannot equate, at this time at least, we're not in the hell zone where they can stick something in your head and make it completely real for you. Not without a lot of conditioning. That's different. That basically orients your own mind to tunnel vision yourself, to interpret things. That's conditioning. That's brainwashing. The shit is still real. You're just looking out of a pinhole and responding, you know. All deception is part of reality. Illusions are also real, but they're just not what they're represented to be. A mirage is still made of shimmers of different densities of air filtering the desert. So you still got the desert out there, which is real. The air densities are real. They're material in that sense. But your interpretation of it is not. It's false. Okay? So that's what an illusion is. An illusion is not something that's false. An illusion is a false interpretation of something that's real. Like a movie theater, okay? You go in the movie theater, you watch a movie, the movie projector is real, the film is real, the light is real, the screen is real. But your interpretation of that whole combination is not. Still, you can turn it into an experience. However, these kinds of experiences, and for everybody who's been lucid dreams or any dreams are, you know, lucid dreams are not the same as reality. You can see they're just very, 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 very vivid thoughts and feelings. It's not the same. It can come somewhere close. Now, if you are unconscious in your dream, then you think it is reality. You are convincing yourself, because then you are unconscious. Your awareness has shrunk down into a pinhole. That's different. You see, our awareness is like an aura, is like a radius of expansion. It's an intensity. It's a kind of quality that has to reach a certain peak performance, and then the experience is real for us, meaning it's natural, it's healthy, it's the way we're supposed to be perceiving on a threshold, shall we say. Because beyond that, there are states that we are meant to evolve into, in my opinion, where we are truly turned on, what mystics call kundalini or whatever, awakening, where we are turned on. When we are turned on, we don't see reality as an illusion, unless we are turned on in a falsetto way, unless we are turned away from our current experience into an absolute internalization, and we look at essence. And because we're turning away and looking at the essence of our awareness, we mistake that turning away as the world is gone. Oh, I look away from this image, this mirror I have on the right side of my wall. Oh, it doesn't exist anymore because I'm not there. That's called solipsism. It doesn't exist in my perception anymore except as a memory. There's confusion. Now, I'm saying all of these things because it is convoluted. If we find ourselves a little too demanding that everything be simplified, okay, that's okay in my opinion. But if it comes to the point where you just step back, look at yourself, okay, the only books I read are blah, blah, blah for dummies. Those yellow, black books that they have, that's the only thing I read. And the only literature I read are cliff notes, which are summaries. Oh, this is a 10-line summary of War and Peace, or some big, super novel of literature. And that's, oh yeah, I read that. That's no big deal. It's just 10 lines of crap. If we find ourselves relating to the world in that way, if our attention span is 3 seconds or less, and we got to move on, or the only thing we can relate to is flashing images or stupid, posts with one-liners, or 40 words or less, tweets, then we need to ask ourselves if we're really happy with how time has evolved for us. Where are we now, as opposed to where we could be or where we were? Do we really want to be a simpleton? What is a simpleton? Somebody who can't take complexity, aka stupid, So, and of course it's politically incorrect to not everyone, I'm insulted. Oh, get over yourself, We're insulted every day. We don't even know it. We're being spit upon, crapped upon, pissed upon, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the best part, because what the other shit that they're throwing at us is all artificial toxicity that's really, really killing us and our descendants that haven't even been born yet, So, we better get our shit together, as it were. Many people have said that. So one way to get your shit together is to increase the capacity of your perception, exercise your perceptual muscles. Take advantage of this phenomenon called neuroplasticity, because the psyopers are taking advantage of it as well, the social engineers. Because if you are bombarded with stupidity and limitation and confusion, your brain is going to adapt to it. If you are looking at TV shows that show psychopathic heroes, or this and that, or completely uninspiring crap, your brain is going to adapt to it. Your reality will be that. That's how you will argue for it. Oh, everybody's a psychopath, man, except the ones that rules us, they're all gods. That's where they want to take it, of course. If I was a power-lusting, psychopathic, it doesn't take a genius to put yourself in the place of somebody at the so-called top of the pyramid. They're not special. They know it, we know it, essentially, unless we're really ready for the chip, So your time is important. How do you reclaim your time? By sensitizing yourself to its passage. Oh, 2 seconds, 5 hours passed, I didn't even notice. Oh, today, I woke up, get to work, and it's a long, grueling day. So when we suffer, it's a long, grueling thing that hopefully we can forget the next day, drown it in booze or whatever the hell we do, or just distract ourselves with the TV or the boob tube, you know. Or go to Google, another word that reminds me of complete insanity. Couldn't have they named the thing with something more intelligent? Anyways, our time is important. And nobody is just going to give it to you because you're bitching about it like I am here. The way that you really value something, like when you value a person, what do you do when somebody's there and you realize, oh, I've taken my mate for granted or my friend for granted? I need to pay attention to them. I need to be sensitive to them. I need to open up to them, to empathize. So time, do what the mystic does. A mystic does something that most conventional people, they also do in a twisted, warped way, even though they'll laugh at it. They personify things, okay? You have your car, you call it, oh, my car, my new car, and this and that, or my boat, or my TV, or, no, not the TV, but people basically personify so they can relate to something, inanimate objects as something, where they share emotions with them. So, and your mate, you don't have to do that, but the thing is that time is an abstraction. And so some people personify these things, and they are called mystics because they sense it as a living thing, because life occurs in time. Awareness occurs in time. It's part and parcel of consciousness. You cannot separate time from awareness. It's not a separate thing. Even if you write it on a sheet of paper as an equation, whatever, it's still a part of relative perception, relative states of happening. In any case, sensitize yourself to the passage of time. Sensitize yourself to the present moment, because that is the realistic temporal reference. Everything else extends from the present moment. So that's why they say be in the present moment. But consider the present moment your friend. How do you do that? It seems that time is hostile to us. It's been taken away. Well, go ahead, personify it. Don't call it George. Hello, George, Mr. George, or Father Time or Mother Time or the great goddess Time. Some cultures do, but you don't have to even give it a name. It's more like, okay, you are an energy, a feeling, and sensation. You are something I value. And if I value this, then I will love you. The concept, it's valuable. I love what is valuable, okay? What is meaningful. If we have displaced our sense of value and meaning, then we can love idols. Idols are not just inanimate things or abstractions like time, as I said. Idols are just something that doesn't return our love to us. But if you love your time, it will return it. It will cycle back. Call it rationally a reverse effect or a reflection or karma or whatever you want, you don't even have, time isn't really alive. But if you do personify it, and you don't have to fake it here, you just love your experience. I love my experience because that's who I am. But the essence of it, not the form it takes, you see, okay? I mean, I love water. It gives me life. Clean water, not dirty water. And water in a container that looks like shit, or something crumbling and then putting, dirt, a dirty container. But the water, I'm not going to die of thirst because somebody hands me a water with piss in it or crap in it. I'm going to demand clean water. And I'm going to, and if nobody is there, I mean, demanding doesn't mean acting like a millennial in a safe space, screaming and whatever the hell, and I don't need to bash millennials. It's just an example. Because a lot of other people do, but whatever these types are that do that, that's another hurt people that need an excuse and cry for love and all of this, but it's misappropriated. Okay, so we're polarized again. On the one hand, you have these people crying for love, but then these people who cry for love, somehow they get the message that they can actually act like assholes and manipulate other people if they can. It's perverted. So if I can't get the love this way, I'm going to just go on a power trip because that's rewarding. You know, somehow these messages have gotten through, and people, when they're brainwashed expertly, they don't know that they're brainwashed unless they're very, very perceptive. Now, all those new agers out there, they should actually be able to perceive it. If they've actually done meditation, they'll say, well, I'm immune to brainwashing. No, you're not immune to brainwashing unless you are completely enlightened. And in this society, nobody really is. How do I know? Because the society is designed to undermine that, because all the past enlightenments occurred in special environments where people had healthy food or went on extended fast, clean air, natural environment, you know, things like that. Or extreme stress that ended at some point. You know, it wasn't like constant. I mean, somebody may have become enlightened in a concentration camp, but they either died or survived the camp and went on, you know. So in this case, yeah, there can be a kind of that kind of enlightenment, but this society, it's ongoing, it's stretched out. There is no end in sight as far as we know. However, there is a point where we can change our relationship to it. And that means changing our relationship to time, our relationship to experience.
What happened?
It says, so Tom.
You went blank for about 15, 20 seconds.
I see, okay.
You just froze.
All right. Well, let the listener know that, you know, I kept talking about the same topic of how time is important to us and how we can change our perception. Time is one of the measures of reality, one of the measures of meaning. Thus, it is a dimension. A dimension is a measure of degrees of mobility within something. So time isn't just the fourth dimension or the fifth, you know, it's because you don't know how many dimensions time itself contains. It can be space-like, it can be whatever. There's the whole concept of probabilities. But what matters right now in this talk is the time we have available, how we portion it, what we do with it, what we prioritize. And we may not be able to immediately, or even in the immediate long term, shall we say, pop up and do whatever the fuck we like, but our desires are connected with time. If we can hold off and connect with ourselves at any given moment, take a step back and not get lost in the hubbub, we can eventually turn our brains around. It's called neuroplasticity, folks, and it is real. The same way if you go work out, you can build your muscles. It's not some kind of high-end hoity-toity thing, which means you orient your perception away from where some factors want it to go, and that's a good thing. And then you might find yourself with more breathing room than you know, to think, to be able to feel, to be able to assess, to be able to maybe inspire and get some allies, to be able to form relationships based on common ground that is not based on memes and brainwashing and go along, get along, or polarized, controlled opposition crap. Those are boxes, you know, get out of all the boxes, even though, well, there's nothing else. No, there's nothing else that has been defined for you. That's the thing. That's the discomfort. That's the distance. But your relationship with time and, you know, is the important thing. There's going to be a lot of guilt. A lot of people are going to say, well, you're not following your obligations, you know, or your time belongs to me and whatever. So these things need to be balanced with what people are going to accuse you of selfishness. So, you know, depending on how you want to relate to that and your sincerity and everything in all of this, pick the present moment and move through this and really see what you really want and need to do, because your desires matter, but only if they're real or natural, not programmed, you see. Only if within the context of your experience and your programming, your desires are still real, but they've just been warped. It's like you've been convinced that these are your options. This is it. So you've compromised your own desires to fit the mold of what you believe you can have and be, until you forgot what your original desires are. And then you're never satisfied. You don't know why. See, that's why it's important to reverse engineer yourself. People talk about meditation, this and that. That does help reverse engineer you. You reverse engineer your awareness into an essential state of, okay, I'm back to where me. And so this me now needs to take a step, but every time I take a step out into expression, I'm being bombarded with compromise. I have to. So all of these things are not easy. Tell me what to do, what button to press. I'm sorry. That's not how it's going to work, and it shouldn't work that way because the world needs us, the human beings. You know, Ron, of course, we had a little discussion again that it all comes back to God, and we got to go punch him in the face because he's an asshole. And so, well, you and the Satanists need to, get together because you actually agree. That's their argument too. That's why they go, well, some of them worship their own version, and other ones basically just try not to, just deny the whole concept. That's fine too, whatever. These are human responses, is that people are offered, through their upbringing, indoctrination, options that they try to compromise within these options. Like, look, man, if these options don't work for you, yeah, but that's reality, be realistic. It's like, yeah, but your desire nature is also part of reality. So if it doesn't click with what's offered to you, then something is going on. Well, that's because my desire nature is fucked up. Well, no, I mean, that's like saying your whole being is fucked up a priori. No, isn't it more logical to say that you are living under perverted circumstances, that you are actually adapted to your own existence? That's the whole, you may not be adapted to your environment, but you're adapted to your own existence, your sense of being. The fact that you have a desire, I'm not talking about serial killing pedophile psychopaths or cannibals or whatever the hell, you can argue all that till you're blue in the face. I'm talking about somebody who just wants a meaningful life, free time, creativity, love, relationship, a beautiful world, Someone who believes that these things should be available. Forget about rights. That's a concept that's used against us constantly. It's my right. So what? What do you mean? So you say it's your right, so it's going to happen, and then you get disappointed when it doesn't. No, it's something that's natural. And thus, if it isn't happening and nobody's doing anything about it, nothing's going on, well, the buck is right here. It stopped here. Okay? So the same thing with me, with you. We don't have to solve the big picture. We don't have to solve anything. We just need to take a stand within ourselves, and we will relate differently to existence, to reality, to the so-called illusion. Forget about that. Just be cool with yourself. Are you an illusion? If you're not an illusion, that's what matters, okay? Because that's where it's going to go. You're an illusion. You're really nothing, Because as soon as you believe that everything is meaningless, because it's not about illusions or not, it's about, is it meaningful or not? Or can it be meaningful? Because it might not be meaningful now, but if the essence of it is meaningful, then it's like the water. Can we filter the damn water or not? Can we find a pure water source or not? So these are the questions that have preoccupied me within the 5 minutes that we talked with Ron about our damn schedules and this and that, stupid life, blah, 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 and why we have to put up with this crap. And, so this was an impromptu discussion. I didn't plan it. But these things go underneath my awareness all the time, because maybe because I'm a mental busybody, or because I believe it's meaningful to relate to such things, and maybe some kind of solution for myself, even during the day, will come up, no matter what. Anyways, I hope things take steps to work out for all of you out there, and for myself, and for everyone. And whether everyone is happy enough, at least let reality move meaningfully, because then we can take steps to fulfill ourselves naturally, as it should be. Thank you, and once again, namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Aristo.